My name is Giselle and I'm a local here in Kikaker. I'm also a realtor with Kikako Properties. Jim and Sherry, this is Jim and Sherry. They were one of my first clients to purchase property with me here on the island. They had a lot of patience because I was still navigating real estate here in Belize. But they did buy a property. It's beachfront property. They're currently in the process of developing condos, and let's get into it.
Yeah, so Sherry and I are originally based out of Pennsylvania. We have a contracting company back in the States as well as a wedding venue. So we wanted to first dive in. We purchased the property in 2000, right before COVID. We had some different experiences here when we first got here, but what we wanted to do was originally build a small little cabana to make sure that's what Belize was for us. So the island of Kikaker is, first of all, most important. It has everything that relatively you need: grocery stores, beautiful restaurants. It's a beach type paradise. So if you are not looking to do water related sports, fishing, relaxing, this probably isn't the island for you. Its theme name is Go Slow for that particular reason. There are no cars on the island other than for commercial. We get around basically on golf cart, bicycles, walking, and actually the fastest means of transportation is via boat, at least for us. So we live at the very south end of the island below the local municipality airport. So it's a 10-minute flight for the main when you arrive in Belize City. It's a 10-minute flight quickly over here. Sherry and I have always been boating fans, so we generally try to take the water ferry, which is about a 45-minute boat ride, plus another 20-minute taxi ride to Belize City at the port. But as recapping, we purchased in 2000. Sherry and I always wanted this dream. We tried looking at Nicaragua. We tried getting Costa Rica. We had 5 offers in Mexico. And every time something occurred, there was always an issue. The beautiful thing about Belize is it's your property and you own it. You're not doing a lease from the government. You strictly own it for your own parcel. So as what we're used to is what's called subdivisions, they have what's called a strata here. It's very similar, equally. So even though you may own one particular piece of the lot, it's still titled strictly to you. So as the first floor, second floor, or third floor owners of a condominium, it's recorded and deeded by the government of Belize strictly for you. I do have to do a disclaimer, just simply because I'm not an attorney. I'm just pointing to you what we've done and developed. Attorneys, let's talk about that. It's very important that you use a reputable attorney for everything. It doesn't matter whether it's for a piece of property, a licensing of a golf cart, registering your own company down here, because there are some tax advantages, but those are very important things to go ahead and do. We can go ahead and answer what we found out to find that out as well. But let's do some of the reasons why Sherry and I bought. I'm going to turn it over to her, and then I'll finish it up exactly why she wanted Kikaker, Belize.
Oh, well, I had never been to Belize before. Right after we got married in Cancun, and right after our wedding, we sent everybody home and we put backpacks on, and we came down backpack down to Belize. Our first stop was Ambergris Key. That's where San Pedro was. It's lovely there. However, it's a very, very busy island, and I asked Jim to get me off that island and get me somewhere more quiet. So we ended up in Kikaker. Beautiful island. If you think of an island paradise in your head, it's sandy roads, sandy beaches. It's beautiful, and it's slow. It is slower paced. There's maybe one nightclub, so there's not a whole lot of noise. So I feel at home here. I feel comfortable here. It's just beautiful. So the water is pristine. You're very close to the reef. You don't even have to dive to see the beautiful things under the water. All you have to do is snorkel, and absolutely gorgeous.
Let's get back to safety, because everybody says, hey, what about safety? How are Americans or Canadians or Europeans gonna feel here? What is it? So let's really talk about the basics. It's petty theft, okay? It's a pair of sunglasses. The biggest drawback is if you hire a contractor, you have to just really watch your money. That's been our biggest struggle. We finally developed our own company down here, hired our own people, went through our engineer and architect. So that's something similar. Are there rules and regulations about building? Absolutely. There is it's called Central Building Authority, reviews all the architectural prints and stamps it, comes out and does the inspection. But I would still say if you're not used to the USA standard of building, it is not quite as good. We take it up to the next level, back to the standards that we are used to. Fortunately, two of my foremen moved down here, got their working permits, and are full on board and constructing wonderfully. The talent of the people down here, they have so much more spectacular. So like our wood products back in the States aren't anything like they are down here. The beauty, the natural finishes of the island. I mean, we have mahogany. Like mahogany is a standard wood. Out here at home, man, we're paying out through the wazoo for that. So just some of the natural local stuff that's on the mainland is shipped over via barge. So, are we going to hit the Lowe's, Home Depot? Actually, there's no chains here in Belize at all. You won't see a Subway, you won't see a McDonald's. So what we always say, when we come here, we actually eat healthier, feel better. And I don't know, I think it's the water for me. I think it's definitely the water. We have just a great time here for anything. But given a project over basis, we originally said, hey, we built a cabana. We wanted to invest a little bit. We'd probably be happy with that. And then we made this decision. We did it in 3 years, and we said, you know what? Our ultimate goal is to semi/permanently retire here, and how do we make that work? Obviously, a 1-bedroom cabana and a bathroom on a small piece of property would probably be too difficult for us to have a lot of guests at. So we knew we wanted to go ahead and do something a little bit larger, a little bit more comfortable, because our cabana is a wooden structure, and there's a big difference between, we have about less than 1,000 square foot cabana that we pay approximately $1,200 USD on for a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom kitchen, so it will be about the same cost of insurance on a 3-bedroom, 1-bath concrete structure. So, and that's the hurricane rated insurance policies. So you don't really, there's a big difference whether you build with concrete, and that's what all of our condos are. This Saturday we have 120 yards, concrete trucks, concrete pumps coming over. Looking forward to that. It's going to be a long day for us, but excited. So each condo is exactly the same that we're building here. It's all 3-bedroom, 2-bath, all overlooking the Caribbean Ocean. I assume Giselle will be taking some pictures and posting of what the view is. So reasons that we bought here, first of all, once again, the property is yours. Let's talk about taxes. So the 2 properties that we own in combination are about $125 a year in taxes. Yes, $125 a year. We just paid our taxes right before we came down here. We have 2 properties, each one in Pennsylvania was $13,000 a year in taxes. That's 26 grand. So to give you an idea of what it costs us for our cabana, okay? So we did pay the upgrade. We are solar. We don't have electricity here yet. Light posts will already be here, and they're stringing power lines approximately less than a mile away. Yes, we will go to on-grid power, but I also do believe in solar, okay? So we made a $40,000 initial investment on solar. We run our air conditioning, we run Wi-Fi, everything that we need on a $40,000 investment. So yes, the condos will also have that, because the power right now is generated on generators and sent over here. So let's talk about what's the more expensive and what's the less expensive. Okay. We also, the rainy season is generally speaking right now from June till I would say almost January, December.
I would say it can go anywhere from like the end of December to early January.
Yep.
Technically, it should end November.
Yep. So this year it's already the end of July, and it might be a passing shower a day. One of the drawbacks of Key Cocker, there are no paved streets. It's all sand streets. I look at that as beauty, but during the rainy season, you will get some potholes, and you will probably need a golf cart or be able to navigate your bicycle to go around those potholes. They can only do so much grading and filling them in when it rains every other day. But that's the love that we love about it, okay? It is a backpacker's island, so if you want to come here and be in high heels and dress suits, probably not the right island for you. Gamblers on the mainland, they got a great couple casinos. They got a couple slot machines and things here at some of the hotels, but I wouldn't say is a big gambling island like the Bahamas per se. On a property, you typically pay 5% to 8% tax duty on a stamp. So most of our condos are about $500,000, so you'll pay 5 to 8% on that. That's pretty much kind of like your closing costs. Probably have about $1,200 in attorney fees, and that's really about it.
So yeah, let me clarify that. You're probably gonna end up paying at least 8%. That's the maximum, 8% on stamp duty, which is the cost of purchasing the property and getting the title into your name, or transferring the title into your name. And then an additional 2% for closing costs, which would be paid to the attorney. You would be paying a total of 10% in addition to your purchase price when you decide to purchase a property or condo or whatever it is.
Right.
You're buying. Yeah.
So, but I wanted to break that down on a monthly basis. Okay. So, on our schedule for the year, what does this cost us after we've purchased this? What's our cost of living here versus what it is back in the States? And we came to a calculation on our existing property. It costs us $200 USD a month. Okay, so $55 of that is our internet. Okay, our electric is free because that is all solar. We have $1,200 a year in taxes, so there you go. That's one of our main, or not taxes, insurance. So that's one of our main costs. So you figure that's $100 a month in insurance. Our property taxes are $125, so that's $10 a month, which is awesome. Our water, we right now capture all the rainwater. It is kind of considered an off-grid, but probably one of the most wonderful things. So we take advantage of capturing all the water, treating it, and storing it. Now, we don't drink that water, but all we do is use it for shower, watering a garden. I'm a horticulturist at home too, so all around here we like pristine gardens. So we use it for watering purposes during the drier months. But what we do is buy our water for drinking purposes. Very similar, five gallon units. So it's $5 USD. Pretty much gives you a whole week's worth of water at your own place. We do use it for cooking, washing dishes, etc. The biggest advantage that we failed miserably in Mexico multiple times is people backing out of deals, and the property is ours. It is not. We're not leasing a 99-year lease. The property is transferable to your kids, so you don't have to worry about those types of things. And that was the biggest reason that we really loved Belize. Property management. Okay, if you don't want to be here, if you do want to be here, right now the going rate is at least $200 a night USD. At least. That's in the off season. Let's talk about off season, on season. So July is Lobster Fest. So July through August is the banging months. So your slowest season of all is once the kids go back to school from September, October. That is the same way. What are the main airlines that are flying here? I would say it's Delta, American, Southwest, Alaskan Air. We're doing direct flights Right now, since COVID, there's not as many direct flights from the East Coast as there is from the West Coast. Everything is, a lot of times, are being routed through Miami or Houston. But I very much, every time we're coming back and forth, we come back and forth, once a month, sometimes twice a month. Those planes are full, and I really see the direct flights coming out of, for us, is Baltimore, direct flight down here, 3.5 hours direct, 45-minute boat ride. So I wouldn't say it's an easy long weekend, but it's doable. But spending a couple days here going back and forth is exceptional. Internet, $55 a month is a premium package here. It's phenomenal. We have cameras all the way around, so you can access them on your phone, iPad, etc. So I can narrow in, even with my foreman, if they have a question. They're like, "Hey Jim, do you like it like this? Do you like it like that?" What's your imagination? So camera access, so we can stream live from here all the time. We even have it even on our dock. We brought down a boat from the States because that's the whole reason that we love this. We love water sports. We love being outside, spearfishing, lobstering, just hanging out and relaxing. There's no such greater thing that Sherry and I love to do at night. We take our little boat and just float and watch the sunset right at the point of our island. Negative thing, we do have some mosquitoes down here. They do spray. I also get eaten by some sand fleas occasionally. We do spray occasionally there, but I think that's really because of the new construction. We're constantly moving sand around, etc. But it's tolerable. But one of the things that Sherry and I, for ourselves, our personal dream, is we like taking the boat out a half hour before sunset, grab a bottle of wine, and just float. And it's amazing to see, whether it'll be the nurse sharks, the stingrays, the turtles coming up right up to the boat, because the average depth here to the reef, let's talk about here to the reef. So the reef is about 1 mile off of us. Key Chapel is one of the main parts that we look at. It's kind of like we just don't look at the reef, we also look at Key Chapel. Key Chapel is a huge up and developing property, one of the only golf courses. It's about a 10-minute boat ride. That will be a high-end island where, just the starting rates for each lot over there is $1 to $3 million a piece. Down here, you're getting quite a bit of a bigger bang for your buck. Plus, it's also developed. A lot of big construction still going on in Key Cocker. The reason why people are loving it is the safety and security. I mean, who knows what's going to happen, since 9/11, how things are changing. If you're a remote worker, the internet is fantastic to work here. Our next door neighbors, she was able to relocate down here. She's in the insurance industry, and she puts her 8-hour day on the computer right here, and her cost of living is at least a quarter of what it was back in the States, and she was originally from Chicago. So congratulations to them. I don't have that ability because I'm in the contractor. Sherry is a full-time physical therapist at home, so she doesn't have that ability, but this is the future dream, to go ahead and be here within a year or two full-time. So internet, very fast, $55 a month can go ahead and get you your same occupational work and have absolutely no issues. We were talking about water depth near the reef. Okay, we did build a dock. Sherry and I are big boaters. We're about one of the only ones that supply water and electric to the dock out there. So the dock is suitable enough for some large boats as well as some smaller boats that need those type of accommodations, and they are for the purpose of anybody that wants a boat. They have first choice to go ahead and get those here at the condo. Otherwise, that will go back into the fund. Water depth is approximately anywhere between 3 to 6 foot depth. Single monohull sailboats can easily go ahead and park probably 200 yards off of our property. The beach area is what's called the deepest channel. That's where all the ferry boats and everything run. They actually corner right in front of our property 200 yards off and go, because that is the deepest water. Now, once you occur on the other side of the reef, obviously that's the blue water. That'll go anywhere between 40 to 1,000 feet in depth. If you're a scuba diver, it's wonderful diving. You know, it's basically a 10 to 20 minute boat ride and you're in paradise. But if you're not a scuba diver, and which I've been a diver since I've been 12, it's still nice to go ahead and just simply throw on snorkel and fins and be able to see that at the 10-foot mark, to where you're not trying to look down at 40 feet and looking at detail. That's what you have here in Key Cocker. Absolutely amazing. So our condos, 3 bedrooms, as I said, 2 baths, has a kitchen, dining room, and living room all together. They all overlook the main pool. There's what's called a community pool in the very front. That's approximately 18 by 32 with a little beach bar grilling area right beside it that overlooks the dock and also the beach area down to that. Now, some people from the Northeast or on the West Coast, you're not gonna have on Key Cocker those big giant beaches. It just doesn't exist here. So if you're looking at a half mile that you're dragging your cooler down, that's not gonna happen. Anything on the eastern side of the island is more surf area. On the western side of the island, I would say is the more calmer part, and that's where you'll see more of your beaches and beach bars. You know, the sunset on the southern point. But you're not going to see huge beaches here. You're going to go ahead and have beach accesses, and being able to get in the water is typical. You'll have, you know, cabanas out in the water. You'll have hammocks in the water. The waitresses and the bartenders will come out and serve you if you don't want to get out of the water. You have all those things, but don't think of Key Cocker being the place where you're going to have giant beaches. It's more, I wouldn't say it's not private, because nothing's private. So even your own docks and your own beach areas from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., everybody has community rights to that. But after 6 p.m., then it does become private. Purchasing a condo is, like I said, pretty simple, straightforward, at least with us. It was on our land, even though it occurred during the COVID, right before COVID. We still had to wait to get our papers a little bit longer than what's standard. So I would say closing completely, and once the documents are signed and titled, that's generally less than 30 days, okay? That property is technically yours, even if it's not finalized with the government, which may take up to 90. So it's pretty much standard and quick that you can go ahead and get and close on a piece of property in 30 days. Let's talk about banking. Banking is a slower process here. So for states, people, a lot of times it's transferred between a United States account and a United States account. Does it happen here? Yes, when we wire money down here, the government does want to know and see a contract in writing. What is the money being used for? They're very particular that there's no money laundering. They will hold it up until it gets burden of proof, which is totally fine. That protects, once again, yourself, but it is not a fast process. It's a very detailed process. They want to have bank references. They want to have making sure that no money is being laundered. It really did take Sherry and I about a year and a half, because we weren't full-time here on the island. It would always be they wanted something additional, and we really don't use our bank. We really do not use our Atlantic bank account that much at all. If you need to give something in small amounts of money to the locals, and if you want to transfer it, yes, it's easy that way. But when it comes to construction purposes, we've basically been doing a lot of wire transfers directly down to that. If you buy whether you buy one of our places or somebody else's property, you know, it's generally, you know, a deposit and an additional wire. That's what we find out is very convenient. American dollar is used all the time. Just keep them that they're clean. So if you bring down $100 bills, make sure that the corners aren't beat up, etc. They may reject them. Yeah, no rips or tears. So US dollar, the Belizean dollar, 2-to-1, very easy. English law, it's very similar to what we have in the States. So if you ever had any issues or problems, you can read it. You don't need to translate the paperwork. Everything is done in English. With our condos, you can either purchase them furnished or unfurnished. The itemized details, most of which, unless you buy in a pre-construction, all the tile finishes, etc., will be chosen by us and standardized throughout all 6 of. Once again, the swimming pool is just about completed. They're finishing up the grouting of the tile. It's an all tiled swimming pool that is used for all 6 condos. The top 2 condos will have their own private rooftop and private plunge pool. Those are about $80,000 more than what the bottom 4 condos are, but you have a completely separate additional swimming pool and outdoor kitchen and patio area for those sunrises and sunsets, because in our area here we see sunrise and sunset. We're on the East Coast, so Sherry and I love our mornings, so we're always up in the morning, generally drinking a cup of coffee on the beach, just watching the sunrise, and then we do sunset. That's what's important to us, and then we're obviously in bed by 9 o'clock. But we're really looking forward to that right now because we're about ready to do the next floor of construction. The first floor is all set and ready to go. We're keep building up the 2 additional floors. So we had Sherry on top of the rebar yesterday, and she can already envision what the views are going to look like, because it's all blue turquoise water around us. I mean, it's incredible. So for us, this was the only place that we could afford as Americans within our budget to be able to have as a paradise. I wouldn't say we're average Joes. We work hard for our money, but it's something for us that we could afford. The same thing in Miami would be probably $3 million just for the land. So it's a huge difference. Let's talk about tax breaks. How we go ahead and get money here. What happens if we die and what we want to sell. I want to then pass this off to my kids. My understanding is there is no transfer tax to your own kids. But say, hey, if I want to go ahead and make this as a real estate investment, what's my rate of return? Rate of return right now, like I said, if you're renting these at minimum of $200 USD a night, USG tax here is 12.5%. Yeah. That's what we're gonna have to pay to the government on that right now. But if you're gonna go ahead and sell that, are there capital gains?
No capital gains taxes here.
So right there, no capital gains. So you buy this for $500,000 and in 2 years you sell it for $1 million, you are not going to pay capital gain. Once again, check with your attorneys at home, because I know for Sherry and I, we have to list our offshore assets as well. And if we're not full-time residents, it may have a tax consequence at home, but because we're still filing in the United States. One of the other items that you do want to think about are stocks right now. Okay, we're down, and I think we're doing better than most, but we're down on the market. So if you have cash right now, this is a very simple, very stable investment. But when we're talking about financing, you pretty much need to go ahead and have the cash on hand in order to invest, okay? So can 2 buyers purchase a single property here? Yes, they can. Okay, we were asked to form a corporation to save some of the tax advantages here. Most people do, I would say, but did we find out that it was a great tax advantage? I would say not really. If you're going to keep buying property, then probably so, doing more than just one investment in Belize. It's probably the most safest and secure investment that you can make, even if you don't enjoy the beach. Obviously, do what you are comfortable with, but already our property in less than 3 years has doubled to tripled the value.
I would say it's tripled.
Okay, so Sherry and I have a tendency to play it safe, but this property right here has been a fantastic investment. And how did we do that? How did we afford to start doing $4 million worth of condos. So here's how we did it. We used our initial investment to purchase the property of selling off a couple assets that we didn't need. And then secondly, we had to do lines of credit to go ahead and finance this property. But right now, obviously, as everybody knows, back in the States, a 10% line of credit is kind of getting expensive on $1 million USD. So, you have to kind of take a look at that. But, once again, is the rate of return right now doing in the stock markets or certain funds on that same investment? How do you get to double or triple your money in less than 3 years? We've done it here already, just on the land. So it has to make financial sense, has to make the sense of what your future goals are, and that was what we had. We had the future goals. We wanted to come to a place that wasn't being bothered by having to worry about nuclear attacks, chemical issues, etc. And I'm just saying it realistic, okay? It's a place that nobody cares about. And I mean that
In the best way possible.
yeah. What I'm saying is it's not like somebody's gonna drive up on the beach here and have an issue on Cape Cock or Belize. It's just a beautiful piece of paradise that creates no issue. It's always calm, it's beautiful and accepting of all. All nationalities here are welcomed, and you'll actually see that. There's probably, on one given day, there's probably at least 60 different languages that I hear on the streets.
For sure.
So I'm a foodie, definitely a foodie. So you have all your cuisines, anything from Italian to Chinese, etc. Yeah, Belizean is
ton of Belizean cuisine.
phenomenal. There's nothing better than going down on the beach and getting yourself lobster on the beach, rice and beans, potato salad, and a cold drink for basically $15 USD. Okay, it's just phenomenal. The ceviche, the local fish, the fresh produce is always delivered generally on Wednesdays and Sundays to the island. The work week is typically here a six-day work week. Sundays are for family, some of the local natives. It's just a great culture to be a part. The other reason that we love Belize probably the best is not only is it English speaking, because I can speak Spanish pretty decent, but the people. Let's talk about the Belizean people. We've traveled all over the world. There's nothing feeling better than like coming to home. And I say that sincerely, everybody, and I am a little bit more outspoken. I like to go ahead and dive right into the culture. You'll go around town on your golf cart and they'll be saying, "Hey, Mr. Jim, how you doing? Welcome back. Can we do anything for you?" That is the culture of the Belizean people. Very welcoming, very honest, hardworking people, and not wanting a lot out of life other than making themselves happy. Truly admire that pace, much better than even our pace at home. So coming down here to Belize is just a wonderful experience for us, has opened up our eyes in some of the aspects of how we operate at home and how we get happiness within our hearts. Very true. So riding around in Belize is obviously, we were lucky enough to work hard to go ahead and get a golf cart, because the whole island of Belize in Cape Cock is approximately 5 miles long, but it is split in the middle. So that south side of the island that we live in is only 2.5 miles, and it's probably about a half mile wide. So you have water all the way around you. So it doesn't matter whether it's golf cart or bicycle. For us to get into town is about 10 minutes, okay? If you walk, probably 15 to 20. The walk is well worth it.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
We sometimes take our boat. We'll take our boat to the gas station and go out to dinner. We'll just pull up to a dock where there's a restaurant, and we get off the boat and eat dinner. That is a faster way. Like I said, the airport is approximately 5 minutes from our house. So if we want to get to the mainland quickly. Healthcare. Let's talk a little bit about healthcare.
That's a good one.
So we've have looked into, we're not ready yet, our medical insurance. You can go ahead and get insurance to where evac insurance, you can get to Houston or Miami on your own private plane, etc., helicopter, etc., under the medical plans for expats. You can easily get there to you relatively within, I would say, 3 hours. And the critical care that happens on these planes is phenomenal, where they're talking to the US doctor for very reasonably priced. But let's talk about what happens here in Belize. There's a medical emergency, etc. I feel the best, and I say it's my opinion, I feel the best is go to a private group, okay? Private hospital, private doctor, etc.
I support this.
Okay, so you will legitimately go in and pay, and what I'm saying is an x-ray costs $25 USD, an x-ray, okay? With no lines, you get greeted at right there, right from the beginning, get called right back, and when you walk out, you'll have probably a $25 USD bill from the physician and a $25 bill for the x-ray. That's it. An MRI was, one of our neighbors had it. They had it for $250 USD, an MRI. So let's just put this in relation. Now you are paying out of pocket, but remember, what are we paying for our co-pays at home right now, whether you're on Medicare or whether you're on a regular insurance. So can you get stabilized in the worst case scenario and shipped back to the States, to whether it's Miami or Houston? Absolutely. Do you also feel comfortable here getting your services done? Absolutely. Most of the physicians, a lot of the physicians will also come in from Cuba. There is a United States medical school on the next island right above us. It's called San Pedro. Is it Washington State University?
I think it's
Through them. But you have a lot of US docs already practicing 15 minutes away. So do not feel uncomfortable if you have medical conditions. Unfortunately, one of our neighbors had a little bit of cancer issues. He goes right back to Mexico and pays cash for all of that. So it's a easily affordable place where you still feel very comfortable. I'm just going through some of my notes. I know we talked a lot about different things. So how to finance, just to recap, the interest rates, like right now, even that we're paying as a higher interest rate, you should have cash available. So whether you get that from your stocks, money markets, etc., I do recommend paying cash for everything down here. On a construction project like this, if you buy pre-construction with us for some of the additional floors, the first 2 floors should be done sometime right after the new year. Will be completely lived in. Sherry and I will be occupying one of those. And then the other 2 floors with 2 condos on each one, so that'll be 4 additional ones. They can still be done at pre-construction, where it's basically will be 5 payment system, $100,000 a payment per progression. If you're 2/3 of the way or 2/5 of the way, then it would just multiply it out. $200,000 will be your payout to go ahead and get pre-construction purchasing.
You mentioned getting a loan here in Belize.
Yeah, okay. Loans here in Belize are a higher rate. They are doing it, but you're going to be paying closer to 15 to 18% on a loan here in Belize. Banks are starting to open up their eyes and realizing that it's a great sound investment, particularly on property, because I would say Belize is still a hidden paradise. Yeah, not too many people know about Belize. Why go to Belize? Okay, here's another big reason. If you're concerned about your English versus your Spanish, this is the only country in all Central America that speaks English, okay? We'll still speak in Spanish. The Chinese are very populated here in Keycocker. They own most of the grocery stores. So, hey, okay, so let's use a scenario. I want to go get suntan lotion. It's there. If I need a breaker for my electrical, we got hardware stores. If we want to go ahead and get a TV, you might want to go to the mainland, take the 45-minute boat ride. How far away is Mexico? You can take the boat right to Chetumal and enter into Mexico in less than a half a day. Okay, there's even Sam's Club in Chetumal. I think they placed it strategically so you could go to Sam's Club. Sherry and I tomorrow are going to look at some specific tile, and we're going to take the ferry over and drive up to Chetumal. Another big item. Say you have items from the States and you want to relocate down to Belize. What are your options of getting your stuff here at a reasonable rate? So I have one particular close friend. He buys and sells equipment from the States and brings it to Belize. He takes it from Pennsylvania. I help him on the process. He drives it down to Houston, crosses over the border in Mexico, and drives it down into Belize through Mexico and enters the entry point just south of Chetumal. That process typically takes us, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks on average from my house to Belize. And then on Tuesdays, the barge loads up, and Fridays the barge loads up, and then they'll be here the following morning. So there is always a day delay from what you think, because we can't go to Lowe's or Home Depot, Costco or Walmart. If you need it, you have to go get it that same day. But if you're planning well on construction, like our managers do, you know, that they will put together their list the week before so that we know that we'll get it here back on the island via the barge, because everything is barged, whether it's concrete, stone, topsoil, wheelbarrows, you know, anything that you may need, a sofa, a mattress, etc. Do they have all those places in Belize? Yes. Do you want to go ahead and bring some of your own personal items down to Belize? Absolutely, you can do that. Hide cargo out of the area of Miami is a great place to do container shipping if you want to bring a whole lot of stuff. But there's always ways to go ahead and talk about it. I'm personally, probably the biggest disappointment for me is I love Amazon, and Amazon's not going to be delivering to our house down here on a daily basis like they are back in the States. But being in construction, it's sometimes just as easy to order on Amazon. But let's talk about the mail system. I have not yet gotten a letter sent to me or a postcard from the States. So let me tell you how that works here. There is a post office on the island right next to the municipality building and the doctor's office that you will get your mail, and you will have to go pick it up. What is our street address? We have no street address here. It's called Beachfront Lot 6 and 7, South Point, Key Cocker. So in order to go ahead and get something, you would have to go into town. And because, let's talk about the population, and I'm going to explain the reason. Everybody knows each other on the island, especially the locals. The population has increased to almost 2,000 people right now on Key Cocker. 2,000. Yep. So now that population has probably doubled because of all the tourists. But what I'm saying is locals, expats, etc. There's only 2,000 people. In our area right now is mainly Canadians and United States people that are all completely around us that are retired. And I'm talking retired from the age of 40 to the age of 80. So people that want to get out of the rat race at home, that's what they're doing. They're finding that Key Cocker is the place to be for them. You need to check it out for yourself. It's not a sales gimmick, because I'm not that type of person. My condos will sell regardless, because I know it's a very sound investment and it's the place for us. And that's the reason that we decided to be here. You know, those are probably the two more difficult things, because with it being here in Key Cocker, they do not want golf carts all over the place. Remember, go back to this situation. Every boutique store that you go to, there will be a sign, go slow. And they mean that. They keep on restricting the tempo down here to try to go slow. So there will not be hundreds of golf carts all over the place. That was a little bit of a challenge for us. You need to go ahead and get a permit on the island to bring in a golf cart in. So you need to purchase a golf cart and get a permit before you even bring that golf cart to the island. A little bit backwards, but that's the charm of Key Cocker.